All right. The other day I bought for $6 at an antique market these vintage Binney Smith watercolor sets. They have a multitude of cute colors. It looks like some like primary and then some I guess secondary. But as you can see, Binney Smith Co, which is the company that owned Crayola for a period of time. So I suspect that these were what that Crayola then used later to develop watercolors. Like, I think Binney Smith watercolors came first before Crayola's watercolors did, because I think that Crayola focused on crayons very early on and later then developed their line of additional art supplies.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
I'm going to test out these old vintage watercolors in my moleskin sketchbook, and then later I am going to try it on like watercolor paper just to see if there's a difference. But let's get started. First, I'm going to activate some of these colors and make them wet so they'll be easier to use. I'm very interested that they have a white in this palette. Also, upon first impression, it feels like the water is just sitting on top and not actually activating the paints. So we'll see how that later goes. I'm gonna do, I guess, top to bottom. I think this is a dark blue. Oh, it's black. After going through several passes, I'm pleasantly surprised. I feel like on the other page, I think I'm gonna do a comparison to my current Crayola watercolors, but not terrible as like a first pass. Like a vermilion. It's also interesting how it's packaged, where it's like the pan with, or it's like the block without a pan, it's just glued onto paper, and they're like the color that you pull from is like in a little trough. It feels buttery when you are pulling the paint from the block of color. Here's, oh, already did not wash my brush off enough. Let's mix it up real good there. I'm also surprised about how well of a condition they're in when I found it. It looks like it has not been used that often. It's like a, I think I still had white on this. So let me try to mix that up more authentically. Or maybe it's like a gray purple. this is the one that I'm most excited about. It's like a nice teal. Teal or turquoise. I always mix them up, even though I have an art degree. Here's like a yellow orange. I'm also pleasantly liking how consistent the color is as I pull it. Okay, last but not least is like magenta, purpley maroony. Ooh. Yes. Alright, I'm also going to test them on actual watercolor paper, and I'm going to try to blend them down a little bit too to see how they react to each other. So again, starting from top to bottom. I'm liking the way that this action is happening. Okay, and now we're gonna move on to the white. I don't know because of its age, but the white is kind of turning out like beige, but that is okay. Right. This gray purple is a very interesting color to me. I do think these are reacting better on watercolor paper. Even it's a cheap watercolor paper, but still, like, immediately I do like it. I feel like it's more acting its medium. And last but not least, see if I can get more of the yellow to bleed into the but yeah, or like, I don't know, but definitely like with the red, or I guess vermilion to the green to the blue in this area, and like the gray to the blue worked very well, and the texture is like drying like watercolor versus in my moleskin. Let's see, it's kind of probably too because of the brush I used, streaky. I also didn't want to use too much water in the moleskin because it pills the paper. But like, oh, or like looking back right now, I'm really liking this like gray blue, how it's like drying blue in the middle. The colors have completely dried now. I also like to report it is not chalky like how cheap children's colors usually sometimes are. Also, it dried so beautifully when they blend in, and like this, I think the gray is drying with like blue flecks, because I don't like, it's not like the teal can move up, it's more the gray moved down, but I think it's still drying like that in the middle. Same down here, like this yellow to red is very interesting in how it dried and blended. Here's the difference on how it worked on the watercolor paper versus single swatches in my moleskin. And now it's time to put them to the real test of making an illustration using them, and using them to play.
I decided to make an illustration based on the tin lid of the giraffe and lamb playing in the grass. I also wanted to use all the colors in the illustration, but it's not a very serious piece, so I was just kind of having fun with it. And like by the end, I was making the lamb and I was like, I don't know how the lamb's face goes, so it kind of looks dorky, but it's cute. It's cute, and I had fun with it. Very keen on the idea of just having fun and playing, as the tin literally says.